Okay. So Professor Liu is going to teach you about chapter 3, the theme, the most important concept in chapter 3 is variables. And you may ask me, what does a variable means? Let's open it up Visual Studio. Okay, let's open up Visual Studio, and I have a code, so I'm going to put the code by the side to show you. All right, so now I want you remember this. So the so-called variable are the variable you put in the coding side. The left-hand side is a user interface. It's okay. A user interface, we have to name this too. Remember, we name this as what? We name this as txt name. So we have to name this, okay? And let me go back to my view code, okay? All right. So now, gentlemen, ladies, and I want you to take a look. I want you to take a look here, okay? So on here, this is txt name, right? All right. On the code, I need to name it integer. Sorry. I'm going to name it what? Let me see what I name it. I'm going to, okay. Let me double check the name I have here. I don't have a name for that because that's not the one I need to code. So I have a name for this. Here, this name is called txt blue. txt blue. Because I want to add it. So now I'm going to call dim integer blue font. So I want you to understand this blue box has line number 33 matched. So integer blue font is indicate that blue box, that variable associate with that blue box. And we need to use dim, and we say this is integer. And when we name variable as integer, sorry, I also need to have three prefix. int is integer. So int blue font as integer. So can anyone tell me that line number 3 int pink font as integer? This variable integer pink font is associated with left hand side which box? Can you tell me? Anybody? Anybody? The txt pink. Is that right? The txt pink. So I just need you to remember that. And here the total font is called what? LBL total font, right? Now we have variable integer total font as integer to match this. And total price is maybe decimal number, so you put DEC total price. Remember our phone is $25. $25. And what you need to do is it's always $25. It's not going to change. So it's a const. So see the difference here is a const. It's decimal number DEC, and since it is a const number, we want it to be all uppercase to indicate that decimal number. And if this is decimal number, you put number, you have to put D at the end. And const DEC tax rate, put D at the end. All right. So let's continue right now. Let's continue. So we are going to talk about this playtime solution. And this playtime solution here, first of all, we want to introduce three very, very important statements. It's called Option Explicit On, Option Infer Off, and Option Strict On. So If you coming back here, sorry. If you see the code at top here, I must put option explicit on, option strict on, and option infer off. The reason is Visual Basic is a very, very loose structure language. It is used for anybody to start to learn a programming. So you don't know anything about variable, no problem. You can work. Your application will work because it doesn't matter about your doesn't matter about you don't know how to define variable. But since I'm going to train you to take a second language, you may go to C++, you may go to Java, C#, and Python. Any of language, you need to create variable. So we need to put these 3 lines here. Then 3 line means you must define variable. And your variable must have a data type. Alright? And your variable cannot be allowed to take value from different type. These 3 lines are very, very important thing. So on chapter 3, we're going to add these 3 lines. Once you add these 3 lines, we start to have variable right now. What is a variable? It's a temporary storage location in the RAM. And your variable should have a data type, should have a name, have a scope, and lifetime. Let me explain to you from here. All right. So your variable have a data type, that's integer, as integer. All right. Have a scope, dim. If this is dim, this variable only is recognized only inside this procedure. All right, only in this procedure. All right. So let's continue now. So you are getting a little bit more about really programmer right now. So what is data type? So data type, we saw integer, we saw decimal. Unicode, what is Unicode? Universal code for characters. For once a character, we are going to use ASCII code. All right. So these are the data type for the Visual Basic. You have Boolean, char, data, decimal, double, integer, long, object, short, single, string. Then let's take a look here. What happened is if you want to integer, that's a whole number. Decimal or double is for number have decimal place. String are for tags. Boolean for true and false. So what happened? Let's learn this right now. Learn to be professional. Okay? Learn to be a professional. So once you select a variable, let's name it correctly. They call this Hungarian notation. God, it's sometimes called Spanish. People fighting a way to say that's their countries. Anyway, it's the 3-character prefix. So, for example, if a double, you do DBL, huh? All right, it's a double DBL. Camel case 2 cells among 2 words. Okay, so follow that. Look like here. And there are 4 rules to name variable. Number 1, the name must begin with a letter or an underscore. Just make sure it's a letter, okay? Don't do anything. 2, can only contain letter, numbers, underscore, no special characters. All right, no space. Although name can contain thousands of characters, they recommend 32 is good enough. Okay. 4, the name cannot reserve a reserve word like a sub, double, integer, something like that. So down here, this is no good because there's a number. This is no good because of space. This is no good because of dot. It's no good because it's a dollar sign. Okay, so these are the good way to name it. All right. So once we declare variable, usually Visual Studio already give you the original value, so you don't, the initialization value, so you don't need to worry about that. Now we're going to see this. There are 3 ways to put the scope to indicate where the lifetime of this: dim, private, and static. Dim, it's inside local, so locally use dim. So dim integer hour as integer, dim dB of pay rate as double. Dim is local. All right. So then next thing is you're going to assign value into that. Okay. So let's take a look here. Once you have the variable, you can assign value into that. All right. So for example 3, txt zip.text goes to string zip code. Okay, and let's take a look. Continue, take a look. Now we're going to learn this. We're not going to use val anymore because val is good. Val first was good. Val in chapter 2 allowed you to retrieve the value, make the string value, the text value, we make it to number and do it. Now we're going to do something called TryParse. The reason is val is only allowed you to convert to double type. That's it. But when they are, decimal, they are this and that. So we want it to be a little bit more specific. So we want to use TryParse. The way to do this is this. All right. So now pay attention right now. First, you want to see the variable, the name. The variable name is called dbl. So it's a double. So you need to start with a double. Data type first. Double dot. Then TryParse. Memorize this. And the first one, the name, this name is from your user interface. The second one is the variable you create at the code place. The variable place. All right, so let's take a look this program right now. Let's take a look this program right now. All right, so I don't know what, here we want to see this. All right, so gentlemen, lady, as I told you right now, the blue box, we make a variable, we create a variable associate to that blue box on line number 33. Say dim, that means local variable. Is an integer because we only contain integer. The name is called integer blue phone. So we made a variable right now. And associate to the blue box, txt pink, blue. Right here as a pink box, we made a variable called dim integer pink phone as integer. So these variable associate with that pink box. All right, now learn the new way to get value right now. We don't want to use val. Instead, we say this. Remember, the integer blue phone is an integer. So you write integer first. Integer dot TryParse. All right, and from to. The first one is from the txt blue dot text to integer blue phone. Understand? So from the pink one, so it's integer dot TryParse. From txt pink to integer pink. So from the interface to the coding. From interface to the coding. Okay, that's very important. All right, so always from the interface to the coding. All right, now we also need to learn convert. Okay, so later on, when we got the variables in the variable side, once we want to put back to the interface, we have to convert it. Okay, So let's take a look one more time here. Okay. So I got decimal total right now. How about I got decimal total? Okay, so total price, I got it. And total phone right here. Integer total phone equal integer blue phone plus integer pink phone. So we're going to use a variable to count. We got this right now. All right. So the integer total phone, guys, is an integer. All right, it's a number now. But LBL total phone right here, dot text, is a string. Number integer cannot equal to string. So you have to convert to string. You have to make this integer convert it to string. Now string can go to string. Alright, so we need to learn this right now. So it is, you will say why we do that, okay? Because later on all the program has to do this way, okay? We are going to be independent. We are going to away from the only user interface. So now let's continue right now. So we talk about the scope. Scope is the lifetime, okay? The lifetime. So we have, once it's in the procedure level, there's only procedure level, then you use dim. Okay, so later on we give you some example to practice this. For example, if these two variables are only using in the procedure level, we are only using the button calculate and these, so they are dim. Sometimes it will be class scope. If everybody need to know this class scope. All right. So for example, like this program, enter sales amount, calculate. So the first sales amount is 50, second sales amount 100. I click it and click it. So I need to accumulate. Whenever you click one time, it's called procedure level. When you click second time, the variable is reset to 0. I really don't want to reset to 0. So I need to have a decimal total as private. Once you get it's private, it will be a class level variable. It will be used to store the totals value. All right. There are something called static variable. Static variable is procedure level variable, but you got extended lifetime. For example, the program we are doing this one, all right, decimal total, we were putting private, but the only thing looks like it's only this module is only this procedure is using that decimal total. So why put in a global variable? Because once you put in global variable, it may make other file to use it. It will be easy to make mistake. So we want to make this scope just enough. Don't want to put too big. Do you understand? Like you don't want to give your password to everybody, to the world. But you have to give somebody, whoever work with you, has to be exactly right. So if I put right here, and looks like only this procedure user I'm going to put here. But if I say that static, the variable, the lifespan will be like a private. The life will stand like a private. All right. So we also learn something called const. All right. Like for example, 25 we call const. And once it's a const, we recommend it's all uppercase. Pi in max hours. All right. And so like const dbl pi. Now, very important 3 things you need to remember. Option explicit on statement prevent you from undeclared variable. easy English is you must use variable. Okay. Now, option infer off. They say ensure every variable has a data type, so as integer as decimal. Option strict on. This don't allow you to uh, don't allow you to accept uh, a value from different data type. So integer go integer, string go string. You have to use convert to make them equal. All right. So we will see your chapter 3 start with these 3 lines. You must have that 3 line. All right. So my lesson A is complete. My lesson A, I finished lesson. This is a lot concept, In the lesson A, one more time, lesson A, most important is you are going to learn the recognize. You are going to have these 3 lines. Make sure you have these 3 lines at the top before public class, whatever, these 3 lines. Once you have these 3 lines, you must create variable. Otherwise, you cannot work. All right. So the variable here, we don't need to create variable for every single control. Only a control we need to calculate. For example, we need to do a total phone is a pink box plus blue box. So we have to create variable. So integer blue phone to associate with txt pink blue. Integer pink phone to associate to text pink txt pink. Then later on we can retrieve value. We remember is from the user interface to the code, to the programmer code, from user interface. Then we're going to add them. Now we add variable right now. You see here is clearly tell you is an integer. So integer cannot put into, you are not allowed to put the integer total phone right away, put inside LBL total phone.text anymore, because you make yourself right here option infer off, not allowed to take value from different type. It doesn't allow anymore. So we have to use convert. So convert that integer to a string. Then I can put in LBL total phone.text as a string. All right. So and also you learn something called const. And also we learn something called static. Salesperson later we want to use it, but we want it to be a global variable. But looks like this global variable is only used inside this button. So we will make this as static variable. So dim is local variable. Lifetime is inside this button only. Once you say static, so you extend the lifetime, extend the salesperson's lifetime to be the entire class beyond the button. But the purpose for to do this, then the other button, the other procedure, they will not know this variable. Then they may not, we will reduce the mistake. Other people may make mistake. So this is your chapter